Now, I can't tell you the exact moment that I fell in love with shooting the streets. I don't think there was a seminar I went to or a workshop or anything like that. I don't think there was a kind of light bulb moment. It was more of a kind of long fuse burning away quietly for most of my career. I guess until about 20 years ago when it finally caught. I've already discussed shooting from the hip and street portraiture in this series, and in this third video we discuss observational street photography, or as some people call it, photography. It's just photography. Let's face it, this is what we all learned to do when we first got into photography. Shooting anything. It's done almost exclusively for love and not money, and it simply satisfies the soul. Shooting the streets is the perfect thing to learn, by the way, if you're a motorhomer. Practice and it will improve your travel photography. You'll get much better images. And if you're a creator, it will help you make better content, trust me. This is a short video today, and I hope you enjoy it. My first love was portraiture, of course, but all the time I was running busy portrait studios having to shoot for money. I kept coming back to the same books, studying the same photographers: Martin Parr, René Bowie, Cartier-Bresson, Joel Merowitz, Robert Frank, and somewhere in there street photography got under my skin too. Now before we kick off here is one rule that's very, very important. Pick one of the disciplines, either street portraiture, shooting from the hip, or observational, and commit to it. And don't start swapping lenses and cameras halfway through a shoot trying to do all three. You'll end up with nothing. It takes real concentration to get a proper street image. Split your focus and you'll get mediocrity in three styles instead of mastery in one. Let's talk about observational photography because that's what we're covering today. Now I'll be honest, the first time I saw Robert Frank's work, I didn't get it. Limbs cut off, no real composition, out of focus pictures. It took me years and a lot of reading around his thinking to understand what he was actually doing. Because here's the thing about most photography, and this includes mine by the way, for most of my career. We spend our whole lives making a scene beautiful. Rule of thirds, leading lines, framing. We sanitize it and we become so used to that sanitized version that we think that anything else looks inferior. That's wrong. My recent work, certainly the last 10 years or so I guess, has gone the other way. Shooting through barriers, using a fence post as a strong compositional block, but shooting against the rules, not for the rules. I call it anti-composition. Not thinking about how the image looks aesthetically to the viewer, but thinking about how it feels emotionally to the viewer. Let me tell you a story here. This is one of the most important things that ever happened to me in my photographic career. I was the chairman of a judging panel at Kodak Gold Awards final judging, and I think it was in Berlin, I can't actually remember. I was watching and listening to these superb judges and photographers from all over the world wax lyrical about these incredible pictures which had made the final judging. However, there was one image I was finding it hard to knock any points off in any category. It was beautifully styled, its composition was perfect, the lighting was on point, the posing of the little girl was absolute perfection, the print finish and choice of media was absolutely perfect. In fact, out of a score of 100, I was finding it really hard to knock any points off whatsoever. Well, this particular image was ignored for the whole judging. And as a chairman, I thought it was my duty to ask why this picture was being passed by. And the German judge stood up and explained that the picture had indeed perfect composition, perfect pose, perfect lighting, perfect styling and all the rest, but it had absolutely no soul. It was a picture that told him more about the photographer than the sitter. A picture, in other words, designed to be perfect and win awards. Well, this was a pivotal moment in my career, right? And from that moment on, my photography completely changed. I went in search of emotion and storytelling, and the so-called rules of photography and art took a back seat. It didn't matter if the picture wasn't perfect, if it was out of focus or whatever, as long as it had the emotion and impact to move a viewer. Anyway, I digress. So how do you actually shoot observational? Well, you're really looking for anything unusual. You're looking for humour. You're looking for design, shape, light. Check out some of these images to get an idea of what I am talking about. What about equipment? My go-to is a DSLR or a mirrorless with a longer zoom. You want distance for this one. Higher ISO normally because getting the shot matters more than squeezing out the last bit of quality. Picture power over pixel power again. ISO 400 to 1600 depending on the light. Aperture priority, using the spot meter in the camera, exposing for the highlights. Now this is a great tip. Shadows in photography matter most of the time. They make the picture, and exposing for the highlights will give you a punchier, more dramatic look to the image. I would genuinely rather shoot at 4,000 of a second in bright light than fiddle about at 100 ISO trying to be technically perfect and miss the moment. However, over the past 10 years or so, I've been shooting more and more with my iPhone, in particular using the Hipstamatic app. And this is where you can combine film stock with lenses and make up your own combinations. It's very exciting. I use just around 3 different combinations. You do not want dozens, it's just confusing. And these combinations, they suit different scenes and styles of shots. It's the closest thing to shooting with film, I think, and each shot is straight out the camera, or the phone should I say, and it's never touched with Photoshop or anything else. It's printed or it's made into a book from that original file. Now, I'm not going to go into too much at the moment because that's a video all in itself, so watch out for one. But here's an example of some Hipstamatic images shot on the iPhone. I also use a free, or it might be £1 or £2 now, app called Contrast. It renders the scene to 100% black and white, and when you shoot in strong sun, it creates the most incredible images. Here are a few contrast images to whet your appetite. Photography, no matter what type of phone you use, is incredible for travel photography. It's with you at all times and it's discreet. This style of photography, I guess, is a bit of a hunt. What you're doing is you're scanning the space around you. You kind of find a background that's telling a story and wait for the right person to walk into it. Hard light is not your enemy here. It can make some of the most powerful graphic images you'll ever take. And honestly, even if you never post a single one of these, this kind of shooting will make you a better photographer, full stop. It sharpens how you see, how fast you react. It will show up in your portraits, your weddings, everywhere. Now, that was just a short video. I thank you very much for watching, and if you could subscribe to the channel and join us on our journey, we will be eternally grateful. So get out, take a walk, shoot for nothing, just for the fun of it, and we'll see you on the next one.